when it came to this potential revolution in Germany, there had been two attempts just in the previous year. The Bavarian Socialist Republic had been created in the south around Munich, which wasn't very long-lasting. Neither was the Spartacist uprising in Berlin. But nevertheless, it showed that there were strong sympathies for the communist movement in Germany, especially many soldiers that had been fighting in the First World War. They had become disillusioned with the previous system, and the German Revolution of 1918 and 1919, they felt didn't really go far enough. The fact that Emperor Wilhelm II had been deposed, the Social Democrats had come to power, they didn't feel it was enough. They wanted more, and they were trying to go for it. However, there was also another part of soldiers that used to be in the German army during the First World War who thought that communism was a bad idea. They rather had sympathies that were more reactionary further out on the right. Instead, they founded these so-called Freikorps units that clashed with these communists and communist sympathizers. And in the end, together with the Social Democrats, they were able to put down the Spartacist uprising and its instigators, such as Leon Yoshichis or Rosa Luxemburg. But if we return to the Battle of Warsaw and then this Polish counteroffensive that was really successful, they managed to smash through the Soviet defenses at the Niemen River. And then they quickly started the Niemen River being in the north, in the border area between what is today Lithuania and Belarus. But after the success there, the advance also picked up pace in the south. And this is where the Ukrainian units of the 6th Ukrainian Rifle Division were located after having successfully defended Zamość. So they kept pushing to the east of Lviv. They advanced deep into what was considered the eastern Galicia. And this was moving very quickly. You had the Battle of Warsaw in the mid of August. By early September, they were already far into this eastern Galicia. By October, they had been relocated to the Khmelnytsky region, where they set up headquarters in the city of Bar. Later on, in the next month, in November, this is when the Poles, they had started negotiating already with the Soviet Red Army. Polish society was simply too tired of war. They had experienced 4 years of the Great War, during which the front lines often ebbed and flowed, so to say, back and forth across Poland. There were some Polish cities that saw the front lines going back and forth 10 or more times, and which naturally saw a lot of destruction. You had hundreds of thousands of Poles, altogether more than 1 million, fighting on all sides in all armies, in the Austro-Hungarian army, in the German army, in the Russian army, and they were simply bleeding out. Then you had the battles for the borders, in which the Poles fought either border skirmishes or border clashes or outright wars with its neighbors. You had several uprisings against the Germans. You had 3 in Silesia. You had in Greater Poland. Then you had some border clashes with the Czechs, or rather the Czechoslovaks in the south. Finally, there was another conflict with Lithuania for the Vilnius area, and with the Western Ukrainian People's Republic for the area of Lviv. But naturally, the war against the Bolsheviks, the Soviet Red Army, was the main war after the First World War. The Poles, having managed to save Warsaw, having managed to push back the enemy, taking back, if not all, the territories in which ethnic Poles lived in what is today Belarus and Ukraine, still they took a large chunk of those territories, and the motivation for continuing further, Piłsudski had it. He had his vision of creating some form of federation in which an independent Belarus and Ukraine were important buffer zones against Soviet Russia. But there were other political forces in Poland that felt that a smaller Poland, but with a larger percent of ethnic Poles among its population, would be more of a stable state than this larger federation of Piłsudski.